Evening, friends. Welcome to Liberia. So, after a dawn till dusk mission, not too bad, pretty good. For the most part, the last 20 miles were a bit wrecked, but it was fine. I arrived at St. Teresa's Convent. They seemed very surprised to see me until I dropped Brother James's name, shown into a cell, shall we say. Perfectly fine little room, $20 American per night. Found after deep diving into a traveler forum. Got there, showered off. I just realized I still have to wash my stuff when I get back. That's fine. And went to leave. Tito, who is the guy who's on duty there, was like, "You better leave your bag here." And I was like, "Yeah." He didn't know who I was, so he's forgiven. Went for a walk, got some money, again, dollars American. Ate at a local place, meat and rice. And chatted football for a bit. Had a beer, headed back now. And the reason I'm recording, because I would have ordinarily have been a little circumspect, because his warning took me up to DEFCON 3 just to be safe. After 5 minutes, went back down to DEFCON 4, where it remains. I would ordinarily not have pulled out my phone. Just on that basis, caution. But everyone's undercover because it's raining like fuck. And this is the first actual rain I have had in 4 months. I had some little mama-san laugh her ass off at me because I stood there in it with my face raised up to the heavens for about a minute. Anyway, headed back now. Fresh sheets, fresh bed with a headboard. Good if you're me. Some whiskey. And tomorrow I'm going to see what's what. Love you guys. What a wonderful sound. Right? Okay, so last thing this evening. I don't believe I mentioned that standing here soaked to the bone as I am, it had always been my intention, my plan, to get into the Ivory Coast before the rainy season really kicked off wholesale. And I believe I'm going to make that. Rainy as this evening is. Because the crossing between Liberia and Ivory Coast is challenging, to say the least. I anticipate 2, maybe 3 days to get from Monrovia to Abidjan. Hope for the best. 2 days, plan for the worst. 3. I've got to make it in 3. Ah, lightning. Excuse me. So, I'm here for a week and then I make the crossing. If I make it into the Ivory Coast before the rains really, really start, that's an objective fucking unlock for Jeffrey Philip Green. I love storms. Okay, take care. This is where I'm staying, St. Teresa's Convent. And there's nothing like a whole big bunch of glass defences. Say Convent. Yep. I'm going on a limb and say it's not in St. Teresa. Good afternoon, friends. It's just gone midday. on Saturday, and I might have just overplayed my hand slightly. So I'm staying at a convent, St. Teresa's here in Monrovia. Nice place, very basic of course, with brother James, who's the big boss man, and sister Annie, who is a lovely little old lady, little being the operative word. She comes up to my elbow. Anyway, the point is that the convent does not have Wi-Fi in any way. So, my plan, because of course I require Wi-Fi to work, and I've pulled this before and it works very well. I found the nearest decent hotel, which is just behind me. Walked in, grinning and saying hello to everyone as if I owned the place. Walked in, sat down, had a coffee. Then I decided to stay for lunch because I was absolutely ravenous, and because spending and tipping very well is good for laying groundwork for strolling in at 6 o'clock in the morning, setting up my iPad and working 4 days running. All went very well, I thought. Had a massive, huge 2 platefuls of curry, and 2 beers at 11:30 in the morning. I'm now headed back to the convent to have a nap because the food coma is a real thing. The overplaying my hand part. On my way out, I went up to reception to ask 2 questions, real questions, places that I need, a pharmacy because I've run out of contact lens fluid, and a vape shop if there is one in this city. The nice kid at the desk looked a bit confused and called for the manager. Nice guy named Rabia, spoke Arabic. Seemed very happy when I thanked him in Arabic, but asked him about a pharmacy, told him what I needed. He said about 10 minutes drive away. We can send you there in a car and then bring you back. I was like, no, that's fine. Just the address would be good. He then, before I could stop him, picked up the phone, called them, and said, no problem, we can have it delivered. What's your room number? So, of course, I says, actually, I'm not staying here. I just came in for lunch. The curry was amazing. Roland is a really nice guy. So, he, at least, is now fully aware that I'm not staying there. Now, that shouldn't present too much of a problem, because it isn't a gate-kept hotel particularly. I just spent $50 American on, including tip, on coffee, beer and lunch. So it's not like I'm costing them anything. But as I say, and presumably when I rock up at 6 a.m. Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, he'll be the night manager on. We'll see how it plays out. Good afternoon, friends. So, I am sitting on the terrace of a rather swish hotel, laying the groundwork for my working week, but I'm now banging my head against my next move, because the trip from Liberia into the Ivory Coast and ultimately to Abidjan, which is the capital of the Ivory Coast, it's a very long way. I think it's going to be 3 days straight. It'll be like the Conakry trip, only slightly less circuitous. But I have a choice to make between border crossings. The northern one, which I've heard, which is a bit of a mission, it's going kind of like up and then way down again, which I've read quite a few things about on traveller forums and so forth. The other one is Harper, which is down really on the coast, very, very far south. I've heard scuttlebutt that it's easy and all the rest. It's just I haven't really been able to read much about it because obviously the people who actually make this trip are relatively few. So yeah, there's that. So I'm kind of making a decision with minimal information, and I hate that. I love flying by the seat of my pants. I love risk taking, obviously. Hello. But I do like to do my research first as far as I possibly can. And when I am de facto prevented from doing so, it grinds my gears just a bit. Anyway. Anyway, friends. So I'm not going to talk much because I'm half cut. But I'm sitting outside in the storm and listen to this. Oh yes. I love it when Paul rides. Okay. That's actually really cool. Okay, you'll forgive me for some professional curiosity here. This appears to be a class from a few days ago in English. And we have the definition of a paradox. This is a figure of speech that seems contradictory but contains some elements of truth. And the two examples given: cowards die many times before their death. And those who crave peace must prepare for war. I like that shit. Also, we have onomatopoeia. This is the imitation of a sound or word spoken about a line of poetry. The cry of a kitten, meow meow. The splashing of the sea. And the sound of a gun, boom pa 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 pa. Very cool. Very cool. Anyway. Oh, sorry, I should have pre-framed that. I'm on the grounds of this actually quite massive convent, St. Teresa's Convent. And I was just having a bit of a walk around. And I also found this, a makeshift barbell. I'm going to do a bit of working out this week. Right, so I'm in a actually fairly swish supermarket, which is a refreshing change of pace after the last couple of countries. And I ran out of Earl Grey tea about 6 weeks ago, which for me is pretty much like hell, and Twinings Earl Grey tea, but oh my god, I cannot justify spending $8 on 20 tea bags. I just can't do it. Ugh. First world problems. In a third world country. Anyway. Yes, so Alistair premium label black tea in individual sachets, 33 sachets for 70 cents. Sometimes I hate being responsible. Anyway.